The new god of flourishing. The new gods of flourishing. The new god of flourishing. The new goddess of flourishing. The new goddesses of flourishing. The new goddess of flourishing. The old god of flourishing. The old gods of flourishing. The old god of flourishing. The old goddess of flourishing. The old goddesses of flourishing. The old goddess of flourishing. The greater god of flourishing. The greater gods of flourishing. The greater god of flourishing. The greater goddess of flourishing. The greater goddesses of flourishing. The greater goddess of flourishing. The lesser god of flourishing. The lesser gods of flourishing. The lesser god of flourishing. The lesser goddess of flourishing. The lesser goddesses of flourishing. The lesser goddess of flourishing. The higher god of flourishing. The higher gods of flourishing. The higher god of flourishing. The higher goddess of flourishing. The higher goddesses of flourishing. The higher goddess of flourishing. The lower god of flourishing. The lower gods of flourishing. The lower god of flourishing. The lower goddess of flourishing. The lower goddesses of flourishing. The lower goddess of flourishing. The greater spirit of flourishing. The greater spirits of flourishing. The greater spirit of flourishing. The lesser spirit of flourishing. The lesser spirits of flourishing. The lesser spirit of flourishing. The higher spirit of flourishing. The higher spirits of flourishing. The higher spirit of flourishing. The lower spirit of flourishing. The lower spirits of flourishing. The lower spirit of flourishing. The major god of flourishing. The major gods of flourishing. The major god of flourishing. The major goddess of flourishing. The major goddesses of flourishing. The major goddess of flourishing. The minor god of flourishing. The minor gods of flourishing. The minor god of flourishing. The minor goddess of flourishing. The minor goddesses of flourishing. The minor goddess of flourishing. The superior god of flourishing. The superior gods of flourishing. The superior god of flourishing. The superior goddess of flourishing. The superior goddesses of flourishing. The superior goddess of flourishing. The inferior god of flourishing. The inferior gods of flourishing. The inferior god of flourishing. The inferior goddess of flourishing. The inferior goddesses of flourishing. The inferior goddess of flourishing. The ancestor god of flourishing. The ancestor gods of flourishing. The ancestor god of flourishing. The ancestor goddess of flourishing. The ancestor goddesses of flourishing. The ancestor goddess of flourishing. The ascendant god of flourishing. The ascendant gods of flourishing. The ascendant god of flourishing. The ascendant goddess of flourishing. The ascendant goddesses of flourishing. The ascendant goddess of flourishing. The descendant god of flourishing. The descendant gods of flourishing. The descendant god of flourishing. The descendant goddess of flourishing. The descendant goddesses of flourishing. The descendant goddess of flourishing. The transcendent god of flourishing. The transcendent gods of flourishing. The transcendent god of flourishing. The transcendent goddess of flourishing. The transcendent goddesses of flourishing. The transcendent goddess of flourishing. The past god of flourishing. The past gods of flourishing. The past god of flourishing. The past goddess of flourishing. The past goddesses of flourishing. The past goddess of flourishing. The present god of flourishing. The present gods of flourishing. The present god of flourishing. The present goddess of flourishing. The present goddesses of flourishing. The present goddess of flourishing. The future god of flourishing. The future gods of flourishing. The future god of flourishing. The future goddess of flourishing. The future goddesses of flourishing. The future goddess of flourishing. The authentic god of flourishing. The authentic gods of flourishing. The authentic god of flourishing. The authentic goddess of flourishing. The authentic goddesses of flourishing. the authentic goddess of flourishing, the synthetic god of flourishing, the synthetic gods of flourishing, the synthetic god of flourishing, the synthetic goddess of flourishing, the synthetic goddesses of flourishing, the synthetic goddess of flourishing, the progressive god of flourishing, the progressive gods of flourishing, the progressive god of flourishing, the progressive goddess of flourishing, the progressive goddesses of flourishing, the progressive goddess of flourishing, the regressive god of flourishing, the regressive gods of flourishing, the regressive god of flourishing, the regressive goddess of flourishing, the regressive goddesses of flourishing, the regressive goddess of flourishing, the ordinary god of flourishing, the ordinary gods of flourishing, the ordinary god of flourishing, the ordinary goddess of flourishing, the ordinary goddesses of flourishing, the ordinary goddess of flourishing, the extraordinary god of flourishing, the extraordinary gods of flourishing, the extraordinary god of flourishing, the extraordinary goddess of flourishing, the extraordinary goddesses of flourishing, the extraordinary goddess of flourishing, the static god of flourishing, the static gods of flourishing, the static god of flourishing, the static goddess of flourishing, the static goddesses of flourishing, the static goddess of flourishing, the dynamic god of flourishing, the dynamic gods of flourishing, the dynamic god of flourishing, the dynamic goddess of flourishing, the dynamic goddesses of flourishing, the dynamic goddess of flourishing, the land god of flourishing, the land gods of flourishing, the land god of flourishing, the land goddess of flourishing, the land goddesses of flourishing, the land goddess of flourishing, the sea god of flourishing, the sea gods of flourishing, the sea god of flourishing, the sea goddess of flourishing, the sea goddesses of flourishing, the sea goddess of flourishing, the sky god of flourishing, the sky gods of flourishing, the sky god of flourishing, the sky goddess of flourishing, the sky goddesses of flourishing, the sky goddess of flourishing, the god of flourishing, the gods of flourishing, the god of flourishing, the goddess of flourishing, the goddesses of flourishing, the goddess of flourishing, the half god of flourishing, the half gods of flourishing, the half god of flourishing, the half goddess of flourishing, the half goddesses of flourishing, the half goddess of flourishing, the vessel of flourishing, the vessels of flourishing, the vessel of flourishing, the name of flourishing, the names of flourishing, the name of flourishing, the person of flourishing, the persons of flourishing, the person of flourishing, the persona of flourishing, the personas of flourishing, the persona of flourishing, the personage of flourishing, the personages of flourishing, the personage of flourishing, the personality of flourishing, the personalities of flourishing, the personality of flourishing, the personification of flourishing, the personifications of flourishing, the personification of flourishing, the image of flourishing, the images of flourishing, the image of flourishing, the imagination of flourishing, the imaginations of flourishing, the imagination of flourishing, the belief of flourishing, the beliefs of flourishing, the belief of flourishing, the thought of flourishing, the thoughts of flourishing, the thought of flourishing, the word of flourishing, the words of flourishing, the word of flourishing, the action of flourishing, the actions of flourishing, the action of flourishing, the reaction of flourishing, the reactions of flourishing, the reaction of flourishing, the feeling of flourishing, the feelings of flourishing, the feeling of flourishing, the situation of flourishing, the situations of flourishing, the situation of flourishing, the circumstance of flourishing, the circumstances of flourishing, the circumstance of flourishing, the environment of flourishing, the environments of flourishing, The environment of flourishing. The relationship of flourishing. The relationships of flourishing. The relationship of flourishing. The number of flourishing. The numbers of flourishing. The number of flourishing. The formula of flourishing. The formulas of flourishing. The formula of flourishing. The equation of flourishing. The equations of flourishing. The equation of flourishing. The theory of flourishing. The theories of flourishing. The theory of flourishing. The symbol of flourishing. The symbols of flourishing. The symbol of flourishing. The color of flourishing. The colors of flourishing. The color of flourishing. The thing of flourishing. The things of flourishing. The thing of flourishing. The way of flourishing. The ways of flourishing. The way of flourishing. The place of flourishing. The places of flourishing. The place of flourishing. The time of flourishing. The times of flourishing. The time of flourishing. The event of flourishing. The events of flourishing. The event of flourishing. The result of flourishing. The results of flourishing. The result of flourishing. The crown of flourishing. The crowns of flourishing. The crown of flourishing. The throne of flourishing. The thrones of flourishing. The throne of flourishing. The flourishing king. The flourishing kings. The flourishing kingdom. The flourishing kingdoms. The flourishing king's subject. The flourishing king's subjects. The flourishing king's dominion. The flourishing king's dominions. The kingdom of flourishing. The kingdoms of flourishing. The kingdom of flourishing. The flourishing queen. The flourishing queens. The flourishing queendom. The flourishing queendoms. The flourishing queen's subject. The flourishing queen's subjects. The flourishing queen's dominion. The flourishing queen's dominions. The queendom of flourishing. The queendoms of flourishing. The queendom of flourishing. The flourishing prince. The flourishing princes. The flourishing princedom. The flourishing princedoms. The flourishing prince's subject. The flourishing prince's subjects. The flourishing prince's dominion. The flourishing prince's dominions. The princedom of flourishing. The princedoms of flourishing. The princedom of flourishing. The flourishing princess. The flourishing princesses. The flourishing princessdom. The flourishing princessdoms. The flourishing princess's subject. The flourishing princess's subjects. The flourishing princess's dominion. The flourishing princess's dominions. The princessdom of flourishing. The princessdoms of flourishing. The princessdom of flourishing. The lord of flourishing. The lords of flourishing. The lord of flourishing. The lordess of flourishing. The lordesses of flourishing. The lordess of flourishing. The priest of flourishing. The priests of flourishing. The priest of flourishing. The priestess of flourishing. The priestesses of flourishing. The priestess of flourishing. The ritual of flourishing. The rituals of flourishing. The ritual of flourishing. The shrine of flourishing. The shrines of flourishing. The shrine of flourishing. The temple of flourishing. The temples of flourishing. The temple of flourishing. The leader of flourishing. The leaders of flourishing. The leader of flourishing. The follower of flourishing. The followers of flourishing. The follower of flourishing. The natural substance of flourishing. The natural substances of flourishing. The natural substance of flourishing. The supernatural substance of flourishing. The supernatural substances of flourishing. The supernatural substance of flourishing. The temporal substance of flourishing. The temporal substances of flourishing. The temporal substance of flourishing. The spiritual substance of flourishing. The spiritual substances of flourishing. The spiritual substance of flourishing. The natural form of flourishing. The natural forms of flourishing. The natural form of flourishing. The supernatural form of flourishing. The supernatural forms of flourishing. The supernatural form of flourishing. The temporal form of flourishing. The temporal forms of flourishing. The temporal form of flourishing. The spiritual form of flourishing. The spiritual forms of flourishing. The spiritual form of flourishing. The age of flourishing. The ages of flourishing. The age of flourishing. The era of flourishing. The eras of flourishing. The era of flourishing. The awakener of flourishing. The awakeners of flourishing. The awakener of flourishing. The awakening of flourishing. The awakenings of flourishing. The awakening of flourishing. The realm of flourishing. The realms of flourishing. The realm of flourishing. The dimension of flourishing. The dimensions of flourishing. The dimension of flourishing. The zone of flourishing. The zones of flourishing. The zone of flourishing. The frequency of flourishing. The frequencies of flourishing. The frequency of flourishing. The century of flourishing. The centuries of flourishing. The century of flourishing. The millennium of flourishing. The millenniums of flourishing. The millennium of flourishing. The purpose of flourishing. The purposes of flourishing. The purpose of flourishing. The meaning of flourishing. The meanings of flourishing. The meaning of flourishing. The culture of flourishing. The cultures of flourishing. The culture of flourishing. The demonstrator of flourishing. The demonstrators of flourishing. The demonstrator of flourishing. The demonstration of flourishing. The demonstrations of flourishing. The demonstration of flourishing. The manifester of flourishing. The manifestors of flourishing. The manifester of flourishing. The manifestation of flourishing. The manifestations of flourishing. The manifestation of flourishing. The presence of flourishing. The presences of flourishing. The presence of flourishing. The glow of flourishing. The glows of flourishing. The glow of flourishing. The goal of flourishing. The goals of flourishing. The goal of flourishing. The plan of flourishing. The plans of flourishing. The plan of flourishing. The book of flourishing. The books of flourishing. The book of flourishing. The philosopher of flourishing. The philosophers of flourishing. The philosopher of flourishing. The philosophy of flourishing. The philosophies of flourishing. The philosophy of flourishing. The releaser of flourishing. The releasers of flourishing. The releaser of flourishing. The release of flourishing. The releases of flourishing. The release of flourishing. The variable of flourishing. The variables of flourishing. The variable of flourishing. The cause of flourishing. The causes of flourishing. The cause of flourishing. The effect of flourishing. The effects of flourishing. The effect of flourishing. The journey of flourishing. The journeys of flourishing. The journey of flourishing. The emergence of flourishing. The emergences of flourishing. The emergence of flourishing. The source of flourishing. The sources of flourishing. The source of flourishing. The originator of flourishing. The originators of flourishing. The originator of flourishing. The origin of flourishing. The origins of flourishing. The origin of flourishing. The forefather of flourishing. The forefathers of flourishing. The forefather of flourishing. The foremother of flourishing. The foremothers of flourishing. The foremother of flourishing. The ancestor of flourishing. The ancestors of flourishing. The ancestor of flourishing. The descendant of flourishing. The descendants of flourishing. The descendant of flourishing. The lineage of flourishing. The lineages of flourishing. The lineage of flourishing. The heritage of flourishing. The heritages of flourishing. The heritage of flourishing. The heir of flourishing. The heirs of flourishing. The heir of flourishing. The co-heir of flourishing. The co-heirs of flourishing. The co-heir of flourishing. The joint heir of flourishing. The joint heirs of flourishing. the joint heir of flourishing, the dynasty of flourishing, the dynasties of flourishing, the dynasty of flourishing, the force of flourishing, the forces of flourishing, the force of flourishing, the law of flourishing, the laws of flourishing, the law of flourishing, the pact of flourishing, the pacts of flourishing, the pact of flourishing, the game of flourishing, the games of flourishing, the game of flourishing, the mask of flourishing, the masks of flourishing, the mask of flourishing, the armor of flourishing, the armors of flourishing, the armor of flourishing, the sword of flourishing, the swords of flourishing, the sword of flourishing, the shield of flourishing, the shields of flourishing, the shield of flourishing, the force shield of flourishing, the force shields of flourishing, the force shield of flourishing, the armored force shield of flourishing, the armored force shields of flourishing, the armored force shield of flourishing, the champion of flourishing, the champions of flourishing, the champion of flourishing, the guardian of flourishing, the guardians of flourishing, the guardian of flourishing, the defender of flourishing, the defenders of flourishing, the defender of flourishing, the protector of flourishing, the protectors of flourishing, the protector of flourishing, the chant of flourishing, the chants of flourishing, the chant of flourishing, the shape of flourishing, the shapes of flourishing, the shape of flourishing, the cube of flourishing, the cubes of flourishing, the cube of flourishing, the cuboid of flourishing, the cuboids of flourishing, the cuboid of flourishing, the sphere of flourishing, the spheres of flourishing, the sphere of flourishing, the spheroid of flourishing, the spheroids of flourishing, the spheroid of flourishing, the prism of flourishing, the prisms of flourishing, the prism of flourishing, the pyramid of flourishing, the pyramids of flourishing, the pyramid of flourishing, the cylinder of flourishing, the cylinders of flourishing, the cylinder of flourishing, the cone of flourishing, the cones of flourishing, the cone of flourishing, the triangle of flourishing, the triangles of flourishing, the triangle of flourishing, the circle of flourishing, the circles of flourishing, the circle of flourishing, the semicircle of flourishing, the semicircles of flourishing, the semicircle of flourishing, the square of flourishing, the squares of flourishing, the square of flourishing, the rectangle of flourishing, the rectangles of flourishing, the rectangle of flourishing, the parallelogram of flourishing, the parallelograms of flourishing, the parallelogram of flourishing, the rhombus of flourishing, the rhombuses of flourishing, the rhombus of flourishing, the trapezoid of flourishing, the trapezoids of flourishing, the trapezoid of flourishing, the polygon of flourishing, the polygons of flourishing, the polygon of flourishing, the pentagon of flourishing, the pentagons of flourishing, the pentagon of flourishing, the hexagon of flourishing, the hexagons of flourishing, the hexagon of flourishing, the septagon of flourishing, the septagons of flourishing, the septagon of flourishing, the octagon of flourishing, the octagons of flourishing, the octagon of flourishing, the nonagon of flourishing, the nonagons of flourishing, the nonagon of flourishing, the decagon of flourishing, the decagons of flourishing, the decagon of flourishing, the evolution of flourishing, the evolutions of flourishing, the evolution of flourishing, the revolution of flourishing, the revolutions of flourishing, the revolution of flourishing, the elemental art of flourishing, the elemental arts of flourishing, the elemental art of flourishing, the elemental science of flourishing, the elemental sciences of flourishing, the elemental science of flourishing, the elemental principle of flourishing, the elemental principles of flourishing, The elemental principle of flourishing. The elemental technology of flourishing. The elemental technologies of flourishing. The elemental technology of flourishing. The low elemental art of flourishing. The low elemental arts of flourishing. The low elemental art of flourishing. The low elemental science of flourishing. The low elemental sciences of flourishing. The low elemental science of flourishing. The low elemental principle of flourishing. The low elemental principles of flourishing. The low elemental principle of flourishing. The low elemental technology of flourishing. The low elemental technologies of flourishing. The low elemental technology of flourishing. The high elemental art of flourishing. The high elemental arts of flourishing. The high elemental art of flourishing. The high elemental science of flourishing. The high elemental sciences of flourishing. The high elemental science of flourishing. The high elemental principle of flourishing. The high elemental principles of flourishing. The high elemental principle of flourishing. The high elemental technology of flourishing. The high elemental technologies of flourishing. The high elemental technology of flourishing. The agent of flourishing. The agents of flourishing. The agent of flourishing. The agency of flourishing. The agencies of flourishing. The agency of flourishing. The amplifier of flourishing. The amplifiers of flourishing. The amplifier of flourishing. The amplification of flourishing. The amplifications of flourishing. The amplification of flourishing. The enhancer of flourishing. The enhancers of flourishing. The enhancer of flourishing. The enhancement of flourishing. The enhancements of flourishing. The enhancement of flourishing. The magnifier of flourishing. The magnifiers of flourishing. The magnifier of flourishing. The magnification of flourishing. The magnifications of flourishing. The magnification of flourishing. The influencer of flourishing. The influencers of flourishing. The influencer of flourishing. The influence of flourishing. The influences of flourishing. The influence of flourishing. The emanator of flourishing. The emanators of flourishing. The emanator of flourishing. The emanation of flourishing. The emanations of flourishing. The emanation of flourishing. The converger of flourishing. The convergers of flourishing. The converger of flourishing. The convergence of flourishing. The convergences of flourishing. The convergence of flourishing. The aura of flourishing. The auras of flourishing. The aura of flourishing. The impression of flourishing. The impressions of flourishing. The impression of flourishing. The intelligence of flourishing. The intelligences of flourishing. The intelligence of flourishing. The sophistication of flourishing. The sophistications of flourishing. The sophistication of flourishing. The genius of flourishing. The geniuses of flourishing. The genius of flourishing. The polymath of flourishing. The polymaths of flourishing. The polymath of flourishing. The psychic of flourishing. The psychics of flourishing. The psychic of flourishing. The knowledge of flourishing. The knowledges of flourishing. The knowledge of flourishing. The understanding of flourishing. The understandings of flourishing. The understanding of flourishing. The wisdom of flourishing. The wisdoms of flourishing. The wisdom of flourishing. The secret of flourishing. The secrets of flourishing. The secret of flourishing. The mystery of flourishing. The mysteries of flourishing. The mystery of flourishing. The revelation of flourishing. The revelations of flourishing. The revelation of flourishing. The tactic of flourishing. The tactics of flourishing. The tactic of flourishing. The strategy of flourishing. The strategies of flourishing. The strategy of flourishing. The strength of flourishing. The strengths of flourishing. The strength of flourishing. The might of flourishing. The might of flourishing. The might of flourishing. The power of flourishing. The powers of flourishing. The power of flourishing. The authority of flourishing. The authorities of flourishing. The authority of flourishing. The dominion of flourishing. The dominions of flourishing. The dominion of flourishing. The rhythm of flourishing. The rhythms of flourishing. The rhythm of flourishing. The melody of flourishing. The melodies of flourishing. The melody of flourishing. The music of flourishing. The musics of flourishing. The music of flourishing. The lyric of flourishing. The lyrics of flourishing. The lyric of flourishing. The song of flourishing. The songs of flourishing. The song of flourishing. The dance of flourishing. The dances of flourishing. The dance of flourishing. The spirit of flourishing. The spirits of flourishing. The spirit of flourishing. The soul of flourishing. The souls of flourishing. The soul of flourishing. The body of flourishing. The bodies of flourishing. The body of flourishing. The mark of flourishing. The marks of flourishing. The mark of flourishing. The promise of flourishing. The promises of flourishing. The promise of flourishing. The visionary of flourishing. The visionaries of flourishing. The visionary of flourishing. The vision of flourishing. The visions of flourishing. The vision of flourishing. The picture of flourishing. The pictures of flourishing. The picture of flourishing. The sound of flourishing. The sounds of flourishing. The sound of flourishing. The tongue of flourishing. The tongues of flourishing. The tongue of flourishing. The language of flourishing. The languages of flourishing. The language of flourishing. The communication of flourishing. The communications of flourishing. The communication of flourishing. The people of flourishing. The peoples of flourishing. The people of flourishing. The society of flourishing. The societies of flourishing. The society of flourishing. The fortress of flourishing. The fortresses of flourishing. The fortress of flourishing. The government of flourishing. The governments of flourishing. The government of flourishing. The city of flourishing. The cities of flourishing. The city of flourishing. The nation of flourishing. The nations of flourishing. The nation of flourishing. The civilization of flourishing. The civilizations of flourishing. The civilization of flourishing. The world of flourishing. The worlds of flourishing. The world of flourishing.